Hey everybody, this is Petey from the Spin Rack, and today I'm doing a movie review on Sinners. This movie is with Michael B. Jordan and directed by Ryan Coogler. This is sort of like taking, what would I say? I would say it's like the From Dusk Till Dawn and mashing it with a Jordan Peele movie, and then what comes out of it is Sinners. Now, it doesn't actually follow any of those two movies in any specific plot lines. It has Michael B. Jordan in the dual role as Smoke and Stack. They are twins, and they're coming back to their hometown to put together a jukes joint, right? And now this is going to obviously play to some of the past movies that we've seen. But this is 1939, and it's interesting that 1939 in this area in the South, it would still have it'd be people picking cotton, sharecroppers, stuff like that. So it wouldn't necessarily be a slave film, but it'd be a movie with that sort of subject matter. So it's not that far in the past. Smoke and Saga also came from the military, so it's just the rural South was extremely rural. So it's kind of playing up that sort of thing. So you get the same sort of subject matter you see in like The Color Purple or Rosewood and that sort of thing. But at the same time, this is not that. This is, I don't know, almost a century away from us, right? Whereas we had our first World War happen already. So the world's been connected in sort of war, though we still see the South, this kind of this sort of thing. And they buy this juice joint from an obvious racist white man. So before I get into this, since obviously if you've gained any idea of me saying what I said, is that this deals with spoilers, vampires, right? Now the other thing with playing with vampires is that you also have the aspect of having to allow a vampire into your home. Now this also, and this one thing that I think who's it? The Salem's Lot. There's many stories that have kind of played to this angle, but you also have to remember that this is also a big thing in sort of a Christian dynamic, right? Because I think when I was a kid and I was going to church, and I was, I guess, 16, and I was in church for like a long time, and they had a guest preacher or guest something or another. It was a Baptist church, but it was a white guy who was there. And the white guy said, if you saw me such and such years ago, you wouldn't let me into your house. And my stepfather had said that, that sort of statement is not, make you not be a good Christian, to not let someone in your house that is in need of help. Now, this plays right into it. The sinners, all that stuff plays into the vampires trying to get into the juice joint and all this stuff. So they have all this backdrop. They basically have a large musical backdrop that goes along with it. So it has a kind of blues. It actually has, I guess it get into iron, like the river dancing type of thing. So it's a whole bunch of different things in there. The church is in there. Saul Williams is in there. He's one of my favorites. So he plays the minister in the story and the father to the lead, who is Sammy Moore. He doesn't seem like he starts the movie. Smoke and Stack, who are Michael B. Jordan, they kind of take the lead because they're kind of the driving force of the story. But it's mainly really about Sammy Moore, who's a preacher boy in the story. Right, so Preacher Boy wants to play music, he does his work, and he plans to hang out with his cousins. And they are brushing him right into this fast track lane of doing a jukes joint, being ruthless when you need to, and dealing with even your own people and not just the white guy that sells them the place. They are, it's hinted that somehow they came into this money to buy the place through illegal means. So it's all set up for them having this night. and they sell it. They meet different people in the neighborhood, and Sam meets, I guess, the girl who is the woman of his dream who's married. Who was that? That's Pure Line. That's Pure Line. And then we also see, I think it is, I'm not sure which one is Smoke or Stack, but I think it's Stack, where he runs into who could possibly have been the love of his life, Mary, who is Hailee Steinfeld. So it's to not give away any more of the plot because it's very involved. It's a fun sort of vampire story that gives you some angles that you have seen in different aspects of it, and how the vampires relate to each other, and how strong the connection can be. And so yeah, it's one of those movies that you're locked in when you get in there. They don't, the way the things plays out, they don't try to over inflate the climax. They do have a very visual climax, a very strong, almost religious climax. The opening of it has a spiritual thing where you don't even understand if the character Sammy is where he's at. So it's a journey for all these characters and these people who are, the regular people who are sinners themselves. So you have all this imagery and crazy stuff going on here. And you have these vampires that come into town and take the place of what was possibly supposed to happen, of the clan, in this clan filled area. And this is the time for the clan because it's like 1932. I don't know if Birth of a Nation was out. It might have been already. So you have that sort of backdrop in there. You have also the great Delroy Lindo. Who else is in this movie? Miles Caton, who's new, and I believe he's a performer himself. So his voice is very strong in it. Who else is in this? Is it Wunmi Mosaku? She's, I guess, from what's the show? Lovecraft Country. So there's a lot of great talent in this, and they all kind of kill it. So it's a very fun. Hailee Steinfeld plays a mixed character who's in love with one of the twins, and she can't stay away, and she wants to help, and that leads to the whole plot happening. So it's a very good story. And I think one of the other things that's not necessarily highlight is that the idea of having a juice joint, having alcohol, which I think prohibition is ended in 1933, and this is 1932. So you have this thing of I think they played it up in the what's that thing? It's, it's not, well, so yeah, like the jukes joint is allowing some sins to happen. So that's one of the things which plays to the name of the people themselves partying. Are they the sinners? And then you also have the people trapped as far as the vampires. It just gives you, it's always hard to give you the next vampire story. And this one gives you a very interesting vampire, and a vampire who has a different angle to different things. Now they also do some other things that kind of connect the spiritual thing to it, and it only plays out very small in a small way, But I almost wanted to see, since they talk about the ancestors in the movie, maybe that come into play against the vampires. But otherwise, there's a lot of interesting things to see in this movie. It's a lot of new talent that I hadn't seen before. I could go through the whole lot of them, but it plays up all the bits of history that we don't necessarily know in a time that we're not really sure of. And it gives you a feeling of something set before. 1865, but it's the 19. The rural South would look, the Mississippi Delta would look almost like before the 1865. So it's a very interesting film, a very different thing, and it's good to see these two have taken their understanding where they're at. This is a thing that of two actors who understand where they're at, and they're understanding that let's have a beeline to the future, right? We're doing the Creed film, the Black Panther, and we have a vampire movie. So they're doing genre stuff, but they're also doing stuff that is popular genre stuff that will not them. Oh, we did this. Now we're going to do a romance. So it's very this tandem of director and actor is going away, and they're bringing a lot of other faces along with them. So I guess that's about it. Spin rack out.